I keep getting this feeling. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys have this too. Um, do you feel like they're trying to get us to take vaccines for COVID? Um, it's a lot. I was talking to this guy yesterday who's a nurse at the local hospitals in the emergency department, and his wife's a nurse too. I like this guy. He's been a good client for years and years. But we were talking yesterday, and I believe he really cares. I mean, he's a good guy. But what he was saying was flying in the face of the things that I've heard from my other friends who are on the front lines and have been since this thing started. So I had to ask him all the pertinent questions, and I was not impressed with the answers I was getting. He tried to answer them. It wasn't like he was trying to evade me, but he point blank just didn't have answers to some of it. For instance, um, I said, so I know people are dying. I know that this new variant, I guess it's the Delta right now, is more virulent. That's what I'm reading. It spreads faster and it's more intense. And he says, yeah, I mean, yeah, we really got hit. They said we would get hit. We thought it was going to happen earlier, but now it's happening. I said, okay, yeah. So my friend tells me, who is in there a lot, and he says that people are dying, and yet he's not trying to press the vaccine, but it seems like everywhere else I go, they're trying to press the vaccine. Everybody. He said, yeah, I would really like it if everybody got the vaccine. Have you been vaccinated? I said, no, I've already had COVID. And he said, well, it doesn't matter because the variants that are coming out, they could kill you. So you should get the vaccine. Okay, I'm hearing you. Though, my other people who are in the hospital settings, they're not getting the vaccine. So I have to wonder if maybe you have a different agenda. Like there's something other than people's health that you're thinking about. At the end of the conversation, he kind of admitted that part of what his agenda is just not working so hard because he's tired, and that's completely valid. He said, we're just seeing too many people. We can't take care of all the other situations that aren't COVID because we're inundated with COVID and we're tired and overworked, blah, blah, blah. Well, that makes sense. So have you ever asked your people why you guys let go so many in your industry right at the beginning of this? Because that's pertinent information. No, that's not the situation. It has to do with how many people are getting sick and going to the hospital. Yeah, that's part of it, but you're not talking about the other part of it, which is also pertinent. But that's only one of the aspects that's just as valid that you're not talking about. Another one is, why aren't there treatment plans for people who come in, test, have COVID, but aren't ready to be hospitalized? You just send them home. Good luck. If it's so scary that people are dying because they don't go to the hospital in time, maybe you give them something when they go home that makes them less scared because they feel like they have a little bit of control over just how they mitigate their symptoms at least. Oh, he says, well, there's nothing you can do. Drink lots of fluids, get lots of rest. Like the flu. Okay, so it's like the flu. No, it's not like the flu because you're not going to die of the flu. I said, not very many people die of the flu. And he started to object, and I said, if they die of pneumonia. Oh, yeah, okay. So I said, same thing with COVID. Anyway, so why wouldn't you tell them to take just obscene amounts of vitamins? It has been shown in studies to help. Or how about if you tell them that they could take aspirin for like the first, I think I've read, for the first 5 days of at least the first round of COVID, this cytokine storm can see relief with taking aspirin. By the way, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm talking to a doctor, and he said, that won't work. It doesn't help. Really? Because my other friend said it would. And you're a nurse and he's a doctor. So who do I trust? How do I trust anyone? How do I trust people who are pushing a quickly manufactured, I know they've been working on this science for 20 something years. I get that. But it didn't go through all of the channels that we're supposed to have something go through before it gets approved. And you're lying if you say that's not true. So stop lying. So it didn't go through the channels that it should have gone through. It was approved for emergency use. I'm not seeing the emergency. You might be seeing it because your perspective has been falsely inflated to look like it's more dangerous than it is because there's not enough room in the hospitals for everybody. Only there is. There's plenty of room. But you only have certain beds that are available for the COVID patients, and now there's more COVID patients than beds, so you're able to say the words that there's not enough room, but in reality there is enough room. There just isn't enough people to take care of the people, and that's in part because you've left people, not you, but they've let people go. And they had enough room at one point because they went and spent billions of dollars building temporary hospitals so that they were prepared for all of this. What happened? Where'd that go? Where's that money? Who got that money? Why are people making money off of this? That's the real clincher. Why don't you talk about that? Why doesn't anybody talk about that who's in the systems? Lots of money's being made, going into a lot of different hands. I'm not making any money. If the government or any other system really cared about trying to get people to take vaccines, forget all of the pressure and bribing and mandating and then leveraging your license or your job, your ability to feed your family, your ability to grocery shop or go anywhere, to travel. Instead of leveraging all of that against the citizenry who you say you care about, big clue, that doesn't show that you care. How about instead of that, they could have just made it so that nobody was going to profit off of any of this. That the government itself would just foot the bill for all of it. Because we could have. I mean, if we're going to hand out checks to everybody in the nation month after month after month, certainly you could have foot the bill for all of this. But it doesn't work that way because these vaccines are patented. So the government can't. Did you guys know that? I mean, I know you've heard it, but did you factor it in? Because you need to do all the factoring. You need to think about the whole picture. Well, you don't need to. You could just keep ignorantly trying to push things on people who don't want it or need it and think that that means that you're better than them. You could keep doing that. That seems to be working real well. I'm not buying it. If you want to convince somebody like me who's skeptical and reasonable, you're going to have to address all of the things that I've said, and there's more. Like, why were the kids held out of school for 17 months? That had nothing to do with health. That was all about the teachers' unions. That was all political. So address the fact that this has been politicized. Address the fact that lots of entities are making a lot of money. Address the fact that people's freedoms are being leveraged over something that, at the end of the day, less than 1% of people are going to die from. Less than 1%. Did you know that suicide amongst our youth has gone up by 300%? To continue to push a narrative and undermine our freedoms and then attack the people who are trying to fight for our freedoms and just get valid answers that aren't lies is so thoroughly unethical. It is so objectionable. It's just, not only don't I trust you now, if you're one of those people, I don't like you. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you don't care if I don't like you. You don't have to like me, and I don't care if you don't like me, but I care about you. I don't have to like you to care about you. I don't have to like you to want what's best for you. Because I know that if I vie for what's best for you, and you is the collective you, we all gain from that. Conversely, if I push something that isn't in your best interest, we all suffer. We're all suffering right now. If you're one of the people vying for that, knock it the hell off. Get over whatever agenda you have. Stop pushing it on me. Stop pushing it on our kids. Stop pushing it on society. Stop allowing our representatives to do the same. Speak up. Do something about it. We're trying like hell to stop all of this and have things make sense. Either make it make sense, answer to it, address it, be accountable, or get out of the way. Because you're a part of the problem. I don't respect it. And I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you to your face. We can debate it all day. At least then you'll be keeping other people safe from your nonsense, if I can keep you busy. But for God's sakes, just have some integrity. We're losing so much more than less than 1% of lives from COVID right now. So much more. Stop lying. At the very least, could you just commit to not lying anymore? Please. For the sake of humanity.